Hey, welcome to part 2 for the walkthrough of EEYORE by BioSoul Digital. My name is Daniel Weidlein. We're here at BioSoul Music Recording Studio to walk you through and explain the NKS integration of EEYORE for any NKS-enabled hardware, as well as to walk you through different sounds and patches from EEYORE to hear all the range of what EEYORE can sound like. If you haven't checked out part 1 of this video yet, I highly recommend doing so. You can click on it right up here. That's the video where we walk through the entire user interface of EEYORE. We walk through some of the basic patches and sort of explain the underlying concepts of EEYORE, where it came from, how it was recorded, and why I originally chose to make it. But here in this video, we're going to switch the setup so we can really show you how the NKS integration works. Native Instruments is expanding access to NKS integration with their various hardware partners really quickly, so you can now fully access EEYORE just in hardware on Novation keyboards, Akai keyboards and MPC controllers, Arturia keyboards, as well as the whole new generation of Native Instruments controllers. I really find NKS is such a great way to take your hands off of the keyboard and mouse and really just be in the instrument and really just feel like your hands are on a synthesizer or on a physical instrument. Any NKS-enabled controller is going to be pre-mapped to all of the different EEYORE functionality, so you can just be on that keyboard and dial in any individual parameter without ever looking at a computer screen. And it looks really great too, as you'll see. So I'm going to go ahead and walk you through more patches and sounds from EEYORE, and I'll explain each of the NKS integrations along the way. All right, so we're back in the browser for a second to get you familiar with NKS. NKS stands for Native Control Standard, and that is the broad term that they use for any keyboard control, hardware control of native software. So we're here. The easiest way to find EEYORE, if you have lots of different stuff, is to go to Brand and then just go to BioSoul Digital here. That'll bring up EEYORE on its own. And then one of the really, really cool things about NKS is you can scroll through and hear samples of these patches. We'll find one we like. I like this one a lot. So once we find one, we'll click it, and immediately EEYORE will come up. I just love how it appears on this keyboard. And so you basically have most of your controls right here in front of you on these encoders right off the bat. You can also go through this little menu to see most of the rest of them. And then if you need any controls that you don't see right here, you can go up to the edit menu, and now we have different controls for different things. So you'll notice right off the bat, like I was hearing that, I was like, oh, I played too many notes. We're getting a little too much saturation. Let me turn off the tape. What you would have seen here in that is that the tape is on, right? There's a weird little quirk with how this worked with NKS. There are 2 examples of this, but there the tape is on. On the keyboard, you're going to bypass the tape, so you're going to see tape bypasses off. So it's going to be in reverse. To turn the tape off, we're going to bypass the tape on the keyboard. And now we're just going to take some of that saturation out because we're saturating so much with so many samples already. And then we can easily reverse that loop or pick a loop point, and you're seeing everything is just changing on the screen seamlessly. Maybe we want to turn up that verb a little bit. And I love the LFO on this patch, but let's say we want to control EEYORE's head. So we'll just turn that LFO off for a second, and then just one more way to move EEYORE's head. Of course, we still have our mod wheel control, but you also have this EEYORE encoder. And what I love about the EEYORE encoder, check this out, is rather than showing you values, it'll show levels of sadness. Tears for full sad. Yes, you have all those basic controls here. You can control your attack and release just the same. Certainly turn that filter bypass on and off too. It's a really nice sound. The head down, but the filter bypassed. Yeah, let's go through a few more sounds here. So you go back to the browser, and you can just keep going and checking them out. This was named, if anybody of you know this piece. I like that. Oh, we're down octaves, that's why. Crazy weird flute sound, but I love it. That's a cool little riser. Let's see what else we got. Ooh, I like this one a lot. So you're gonna hear, see that loop is on? It's not evolving because we just picked a place to sort of get max saturation here. If you drop this a couple octaves, this is just like the world's about to end, right? But if we wanted to hear a little more of what this sample is made of, we'd just come back here, turn the loop off, and it's gonna slowly open up. That's another guy that we might want to turn that tape off there, right? You can hear all that saturation goes away. And this is also a really great one, I think, to hear how we could change the envelope of it. So let's really pull that attack way back and just hear it open up super slowly. Or even slower. That was actually a good example of, you can hear, if we have too many samples playing at the same time and you drop the head all the way, you're going to hear the head saturation kick in. So you just have to use all these things to taste and kind of figure out where the threshold is, which is fully intended with EEYORE, right? I want this to be an unpredictable, very analog feeling instrument. And so you're going to hit thresholds of things that you have to back off of, right? This was recorded with tube preamps, tube EQ, with some tube mics, as well as some really great ribbon microphones. And so we're just kind of finding the threshold of that with different patches in different places. Let's check out a couple more patches. If you want to hear a little sample of all the patches, you can go to the BioSoul YouTube channel, and there is a video that just quickly scans through every single patch with a little sample preview of it. But certainly the best way is just to buy EEYORE. Let's see. Here's another, you've heard DX8, I think, earlier, but here's another nice example of something that's a little more plucky, kind of like a bell tone vibe. I think one of the really cool, unique things about EEYORE is we have a number of these kind of plucky, bell-tony sounds. But normally when you hit something like that, it's just going to sort of have a natural decay. And what's so cool is to get that kind of attack, but then hear some evolution after it in the subsequent sound. A natural vibrato built into that. Part of that is because we have the loop on. Let's turn infinity loop off. Right, so you can hear the natural decay of those samples. And then we can turn loop back on and have that live forever. There was all that tape saturation, right? As you play more notes, you're going to build up more saturation. So if I had that tape on and just played one note, you're not going to hear build up. You're just going to hear some really nice, lovely, minimal saturation. But if we build that up, and to clean that up, we just turn the tape off. Yeah, here's a couple more. This one is actually really fun for some kind of lead sound. And that might be a good one to play dry and put some other effects on later in the chain. Really fun. All right, this one's really cool. There's it's a longer sample there because you get to hear a little taste of it. So this one's called Practice the Scale. There was one sample that we recorded that we refer to as the scale. It was just unbelievable. This is one that came pretty early on in the recording process, and Clint Dodson, who was playing this, just kept bowing, and we just kept hearing more partials come out of it, and it basically turned into this full scale. So let me play this a little higher on the keyboard so that we're not sitting here all day, but you can hear this sample open up in just the coolest way. It's incredible how it just keeps evolving. And there's no loop here. We're just continuing to hear more of the sample. Finally, we get to the end of that. So that was probably a little high to play this this particular patch, but if you play that down a couple of octaves, it evolves and moves in just this really cool undulating way, and you can hold it there for a very long time. Probably not a great one to play a whole bunch of chords with, but really great for some film scoring stuff. Kind of feels like a spaceship coming into view, right? Just hearing some low, sort of starting to be very subtle, choppy cello stuff coming in here. Some distant timpanis. I feel like we're starting to watch the whole like Star Trek fleet come into view, you know what I mean? You get the idea. I love the Temple of Heaven. This is such a cool, just the envelope of this sample in and of itself is really cool. And you can hear there's that 12th up there, or I guess we're a couple octaves above that. And then you almost get the high octave above there, but it's not quite there, which is really cool. So this one actually does some cool stuff if you play open chords. You don't want to get super dense, but just sitting there, classy. Yeah. And then I'm just going to quickly highlight the last two patches. There is some bowing happening, but we cheated just on these two because it added some really cool texture to some of the other patches. And this is just bringing these samples forward, is just a little bit of mallet rolls on the cymbal. And you can do it in a way that still gets a little bit of pitch. And these are really fun, kind of ominous riser patches, both of the Z patches. I'm going to actually turn the tape off just so you can hear this really clean for a second. You can hear there's still some bowing in there, but it feels like a storm brewing, right? And you can just totally layer a bunch of these. And just for fun, we'll go to the other one too. Just a little different kind of roll here. So I think that's it for now. This is EEYORE, the bowed metal sad boy from BioSoul Digital. You can go to our website, www.biosouldigital.com, to purchase EEYORE, as well as to hear more examples of how you can use EEYORE. There's a great FAQ section on the website, and we'll keep introducing new things as we expand the capabilities of EEYORE and introduce new instruments. We do have updates planned for EEYORE, some more functionality within the settings page, certainly some expanded patches with some more underlying samples, but we want to live with it for a little bit first. first. EEYORE is just coming alive and learning himself as we learn him, and we're really excited to hear how you use him. I think we're going to be really surprised by all the different applications of EEYORE, and we want to get to know him before we expand the capability. Any future updates will certainly be free, and we'll let you know when those are coming. But in the meantime, please tag us in anything you're doing. We're so excited to hear what y'all are doing with EEYORE. We're fully expecting some unexpected surprises of ways to use him. You can tag us in anything you do at BioSoul Digital on any of the social media platforms. And if you have any questions about why we made EEYORE, how it functions, or if you notice any problems for any reason, please reach out to us. Our contact information is on the website. We would be happy to talk with you about it, and we look forward to getting to know you. And as I mentioned, we do have more instruments on the way, so if you want to stay tuned, please follow us on the socials, or you can join our mailing list, which is on the website. We'll let you know as soon as new instruments are coming out. We're already deep at work on the next one. We're getting really excited about it. So we'll start teasing that in the coming months, and it'll probably come out sometime in 2026. So I think that's it for now. Once again, my name is Daniel Weidlein. We're here at the BioSoul Music Recording Studio in Los Angeles. And for BioSoul Digital, I'm signing off. See you next time.
Before I sign off, I have to say 2 huge thank yous. The first to Miller Wren, a brilliant film composer and a dear friend of mine, who brought one of his film scores here to record at BioSoul Music and inspired the inception of this instrument. The second is Clint Dodson, an amazing drummer here in Los Angeles who played a lot of the samples for EEYORE. I'm going to link both of them below so you can check out their music. They're both brilliant composers, musicians, and all-around great humans. So I couldn't have done this without them. Thank you both so much.